political analyst, joins us. Good morning, Alex.
Good morning.
All right. What's interesting about President Trump's foreign policy speech yesterday is that all the things he said he's not doing.
Well, I wouldn't go quite that far, but he's certainly putting a different perspective on foreign policy and national defense than we've had the last 10 years. This is the biggest. He's proposing the biggest increase in national defense spending since Reagan, reversing, I think, some of America's ability to project strength in the world that has declined so much under the Obama administration. And I think it's a more realistic view of the world, that without a strong American economy, without the ability to project it militarily, America's not going to defend its interest and grow the way we need to. So I'd give him a pretty good grade for his national security speech yesterday.
So one of the biggest things and one of the biggest criticisms towards President Trump is that he will not acknowledge what everyone in the intelligence community says, is that Russia hacked into, tried to influence the election, and now comes word that North Korea tried to do the same thing. So he believes the intelligence agencies when it's North Korea, but not when it's Russia?
I'm not sure that that's what's going on. You know, Donald Trump has a very hard diamond-like anvil type of a head. He does not like to admit he's wrong, and I think some of this is Donald Trump saying, you're not going to push me around and make me admit that the Russians contributed to my winning the election. That he just doesn't want to give credit there. I think this is political gamesmanship, not a Donald Trump saying that the Russians had no impact on the election. We know Donald Trump has an outsized ego, and I think that's what's going on here.
There's also a very nuanced point, though. You can say, look, they tried to do terrible things. It didn't change the outcome of the election. Let's get to the bottom of it, right? I mean, if he embraced it, it would make him look like a much bigger man.
Wouldn't that have been the smart political thing for Donald Trump to do? He would have gained so many points. Same thing in Alabama. Imagine if Donald Trump had said, look, there are things that I can't impose on this nation. I'd love to have another Republican U.S. Senator, but this is the wrong guy. He's bad for the Republican Party. It's bad for the country. We lost the seat anyway, and Donald Trump's numbers would have skyrocketed. But this president is all about the moment, not the future. He doesn't want to lose today, even if it cost him tomorrow.
Alex Castellanos, what do you make of this Bob Corker dust-up and the controversy with this inserted tax provision in which no one knows how it got in there, but it sure is going to help a very rich few?
It seems like the rich and powerful in Washington always win. Don't they? Whatever Washington does seems to be good for them. But, you know, the other part of the story is that with John McCain being in poor health, I think Bob Corker felt a little pressure to help Republicans get this over the finish line for his old buddy. So I don't think it was just personal interest there.
But, I mean, the question is how much – is this vote still solid, or is the ground still shifting over this in Washington, D.C.?
Republicans are so scared of what's going to happen in 2018 that they're going to get this tax bill through no matter what. It has frozen over. Washington has finally frozen over.
Even though every poll says this is not popular with the American people.
Yes, you know, we've come to a strange place in America where we judge laws on what they sound like and not on what they do. This law it's unpopular to cut taxes for the rich, but of course, if it ends up stimulating the economy, this is going to grow the economy of companies in your community to create jobs. So if it ends up actually working and producing a little growth, guess what? That will be popular.
Well, very similar to the Affordable Care Act, right? Giving people health insurance who couldn't afford it and or who couldn't buy it. How was that unpopular with people it was meant to help?
Right, and you know that's the way Washington works. We call things by what they will not do. The Affordable Care Act that, of course, ended up making health care unaffordable.
Well, and you have the middle-class tax relief, and all the taxes are going to the rich?
Yeah, well, it's hard to cut taxes in America unless you cut taxes for the people who pay them. And the top 10% of Americans pay 71% of taxes. So guess who's going to get tax cuts when you cut taxes?
When it's all said and done, Alex Castellanos, which, by the way, I agree with, when it's all said and done, in 3, 4, 5 years, when the deficit is even higher, bigger, wider, grander, and nowhere near balancing the budget, when a Republican comes out and says we need to balance the budget, are they going to be laughed off the stage?
Yes. That's where we are now. Neither party, Republicans or Democrats, are serious about entitlement spending or reducing any kind of spending. You know, it's like a drunk. You're afraid of getting a hangover, so you just keep drinking, and that's where we are in Washington with spending. Nobody's serious about reducing it, but maybe economic growth will help.
Alex Castellanos, ABC News political analyst. Have a good day. Thanks for checking in.
Good to be with you.